Everyone, it's Raj from 3CB. Liverpool had a pretty incredible season in terms of their durability and fitness, not suffering many injuries and playing at a very high level in every competition they were involved in, getting to multiple cup finals and also being involved for the title on the last day in the season. There's been a conspiracy theory going around that part of that fitness can be attributed to the players using asthma treatment to help improve their performance. That's based on an article from September 2020, which has never been substantiated, in which that a source close to the team, which is always kind of a shady statement, quote, revealed that 22 of the 35 players on Liverpool are asthmatic and are undergoing treatment that will enhance their performance. Typically, I don't even like to address these completely unsubstantiated rumors and conspiracies because it just gives more credence and exposure to it. But I've been asked and seen this so many times that I figured that we can go through it. Firstly, what is asthma? Asthma is essentially an inflammatory response in your airway that causes muscle constriction, which then leads to difficulty of breathing. The prevalence in the general population is about 10 to 12% last time I checked, but in footballers, it's around 28% according to a study done on elite footballers in 2017. The reason for that higher rate of prevalence in footballers is two reasons. Firstly is that they're exerting themselves at a much higher rate, so you have more ventilation going on. And secondly, and this is quite applicable in the Premier League, is that they're being exposed to cold more often, and breathing in cold air can lead to higher rates of asthma as well. The number cited, 22 out of 35, is about 63%, so obviously that's much higher than 28%. But again, there's no evidence that's even true or not. So how do you treat asthma? There's typically three specific treatments done with inhalers. The first, the blue inhaler, is done to reduce symptoms after constriction already takes place. It is reactionary. However, the other two, the brown and the purple, often done in combination on a daily basis, are done to reduce the inflammatory process in the first place, so they're more preventative, and that's typically how players have their asthma therapy done on a daily basis, on a preventative basis. The major question here becomes, is there any evidence that any of these inhalers and the medications associated with them enhance performance? And there really isn't. With the blue inhaler, there's actually studies done with people taking 80 hits of the inhaler per day, and there was no increase in any performance metrics. In fact, the only increase was in heart rate, and that's actually gonna very likely limit your performance. It's gonna make you very jittery as well, as it puts you into what's called tachycardia. With the brown or purple inhalers, there are anti-doping rules associated with it, and so players have to typically stick within 2 to 4 puffs of it per day. There's oral swallowed forms as well, but athletes aren't allowed to use that within 2 weeks of the competition either. Players and teams can apply for TUEs, called therapeutic use exemptions, but that's only in the case of emergencies where players can use some of these things within that 2-week window or more than prescribed. But again, that's only in the case of severe symptoms, and in those cases, players aren't going to be ready to play or play at a high level anyways. All in all, I find the argument a bit funny and a bit silly because in the 2020-21 season, when Liverpool had a bunch of injuries, I didn't really see anyone complain about this, and there were even people questioning the medical and training and physio staffs on their competency. However, this season, when the team does do really well, remember this article came out before the 2020 season, this season, there's now people questioning whether you're something else. If we learned about it in 2020, how can we say that it only applies to the 2021-22 season? That's pure confirmation biased based on a results-oriented analysis, and that's always pretty invalid. That's also how conspiracies tend to be. Further, if you look at how Liverpool manages its players, for example, with Virgil van Dijk, and having him take his time from his ACL, MCL reconstruction and not playing in Euros last summer to Joe Gomez and how methodical they were with his ramp up, how methodical they were this year with Harvey Elliott's injury and ramp up. To think that they're trying to skirt the rules and go against anti-doping rules and risk their players, to me, none of it really adds up. And again, it just sounds very, very much like these conspiracies that come from not really understanding the medical aspects or understanding the training aspects. In the end, let's give credit where it's due to the players, to the coaching, the training, the physio, and the medical staff for having their players prepared for the last season and being able to manage their fitness levels and their injuries quite well and get them and propel them to the point where they could play so deep into games for the entire season and for all their cup challenges.